Thanks very much for taking the time to watch today. We're taking you all the way down to New Zealand, which will be the only time you come down to New Zealand today. What we're here to talk about is Ruhr Gold. I'm Robert Eckford, the CEO, and we're just going to skim through in the 10 minutes we have, the high-level points of why our story is so compelling. And we're going to start with New Zealand. So this will be the only mining project in New Zealand you talk about today, and it's really an educational piece of why mining in New Zealand is so great. This is the fastest jurisdiction in the world to get a permit right now. The last mine was just permitted in December 18 by OceanaGold. It took 112 days. There's no other permitting worldwide that will permit a fully ready to go into production mine in 112 days. And that's the opportunity for Ruhr Gold right now. We're an explorer this very day, but in 2026, we're quickly moving through the process to go from exploration into development and into production in the next 24 months, and that's our goal. Right now, New Zealand's risen up the ranking because of these new legislative issues that they've put in. They've risen up the ranking of the Fraser Index to number 12 in the whole world, number 1 in Oceania above Australia, which is obviously a massive gold mining town. The team behind Ruhr Gold also are not your classic explorationists. We're not here to drill out a few holes and hope someone buys us. We really want to move through the value chain. We really see this commodity cycle as creating an opportunity to move to cash flow very quickly and really take advantage of these prices. So the people behind this, and I'm not going to go through everyone's mugshot, but really you've got Oliver Lennox-King, our chairman, was our second largest shareholder until we did this financing this week. But he essentially has built Frontier Gold, which sold for $2 billion. He's built Rox Gold, which sold for $1.5 million. So he's built billion-dollar companies multiple times over. Paul Criddle, his right-hand man as COO, has been there building these mines and helps from the operating point of view. I'm coming out of Aris Mining, that some of you may know. It's the biggest Colombian gold producer out there today. I started that with Neil in 2020. I was the CFO, he's the CEO, and Neil and I have worked together for the last 10 years. So a great mentor to learn from, but Ruhr Gold is stepping away from that, and I get to put the CEO hat on and be a big promoter all of a sudden, which is great fun because really we're building the next producer in New Zealand. The key person I'll also mention here is Simon Henderson. He's our geologist. He's the favorite old 70-year-old crusty geologist that just wants to run drill programs. He doesn't want to run around VRIC and talk to investors. He wants to be in the bush. He's got over 50 years experience as a geologist, 40 of which is in New Zealand. So he knows these rocks backwards, and he's the actual brains of the operation. Our share capital that we're showing up here is actually including a raise that we announced Wednesday this last week. We raised $33 million at a $1.10 share price. On the Thursday after we announced it, we opened at $1.25. On Friday, we closed at $1.30. The actual raise we announced, we went out for 25 and we had 65 million in the book. It was so oversubscribed that we had to cut people back that they went to buy on the market. So it's been very well received in the market. It cashes us up for the next 2 years of executing on what we plan to. And it was heavily institutionally backed. So this is one of the few stories you're going to see around the 150 million market cap that actually is heavily institutionally supported all the way through. We've never issued a warrant in any of our raises that we've done over the last 2 years because we've made institutions money in the past that they back us into our next ventures. So this will be our third company that we build together, and our institutions realize that and they back us from the very beginning. So we've got a little float of 20% of retail, and management and insiders own about 15% of the company, and we've participated in every single raise up until now. So let's get into the assets in the last 6 minutes that I've got. So as I said, focus on New Zealand. You've got a tale of two stories, and we're going to start in the North Island. There's a beautiful epithermal zone of New Zealand. You think the volcanoes, you think the hot springs, you think the Lord of the Rings. It's amazing terrain up there. And 15 million ounces of gold has come out of there. It is absolutely prolific in terms of gold jurisdiction. And the main foothold there is run by OceanaGold, an $8 billion gold mining company. They've had the Waihi open pit operating since 1980. It's produced 10 million ounces of gold. It still has 2 million ounces to go. It's still operating today. the first project that just got permitted, as I said, in 112 days, the quickest permitting ever in the world in the last decade. Don't quote me on that. But Wharekirauponga just got permitted last month in December. It's 18 grams a ton, 1.5 million ounces, and open in every single direction. The deposits in this region are absolutely gangbusters, and Glamorgan, just north of it, is where we're targeting to be drilling in March, April this year. And importantly to mention, Simon Henderson, our crusty geologist who's been in New Zealand for 50 years drilling out these deposits, actually discovered Wharekirauponga. He worked for 15 years for Waihi. He delineated that open pit. He's an exploration geologist, so he got bored after it was in production, and he went and staked the northern area there. He discovered Wharekirauponga, and eventually Oceanic Gold took him out, and he got moved on from the project. But we've got the geo that actually has looked at these rocks for the last 25 years. He knows exactly what he's looking for when he goes into this district, and he sees something very identical at Glamorgan where we're going to be drilling. So we're really excited to get up here. A big catalyst coming to the market is getting these drill permits come March, April this year, and we're going to be looking for another WKP. So it's the sort of exploration upside. We've done all the precursors to drilling. We've been there for 18 months doing all the soil testing and the mapping and looking at the rock chips, looking at the resistivity of this area. So we know what we're getting into. We're ready to start drilling this, and that's coming. So this is the blue sky exploration pizzazz that some of these companies have in this room, but we're right next to a tier 1 deposit, and we've got the same geos looking at it and very excited about what they see. Where I get very excited is as we move into the South Island. The South Island is a very different story. We've got 4 rigs turning on the South Island. This was our foundational asset back when this company started privately in 2019, and that was before anyone was even looking at New Zealand. So we had essentially first mover advantage to pick up the best ground in New Zealand, and we focused on Reefton. Right now, we've tied up 120,000 hectares, this whole gold district, and it's called Reef Town because it was an old gold rush town. They went there in the early 1900s. They found these outcropping gold quartz veins. They mined 2 million ounces of gold out of Reefton at 25 grams a ton. But this is the early 1900s. They didn't have the technology they have today, and so they only could get as deep as 400 or 500 meters. The whole system has never been tested at depth, and it needs to be looked at in a meaningful way. And just popping up again to that previous slide, the one group, that little L shape in the middle of our tenement map, Endura Mining, they're the one group that have done it. It's a private Australian company. You can see their column, the blue one on the right there. It's gone down 1,500 meters, they've got mineralization. Their old mine stopped at 700 meters, and they've got a resource of 800,000 ounces at 23 grams a ton underneath that old mine. We've got 7 historic mines that have never been tested at depth, so there's this huge potential of finding another system here. So right now, we're focused. We've got 4 drill rigs turning. We're really focused right in the middle of that screen there on Old Creek. Old Creek never actually had the old-timers come in there. This is a gold antimony deposit, and antimony for the old-timers was just a pain. It ruined their recoveries, so they never touched it. So that gives us the opportunity to actually do much quicker, much cheaper, more cost-effective resource development. Our current resource we're looking at Old Creek goes down 300 meters, and on strike it's already proven that it's 870 meters long, and this is just through H2 of 2025's drilling. We've only been here for 6 months drilling. We're looking at putting out an initial 43-101 on this next month. Then we'll keep drilling, we'll keep expanding the resource, but the key driver to putting the 43-101 out is one, to just give us a starter resource, knowing that this little white box that we're looking at on the right there is what we're looking at from what we've tested, but this thing extends for 2 kilometers north. We're not here just for this February resource we're putting out. We're here to grow this into 500,000 to 1 million ounces. So I'm not up here saying tier 1 asset, world class. We're here to prove up very quickly, 500,000 to 1 million ounces, take advantage of being in New Zealand and 6-month permitting processing times. We want to get this small mine permitted as quickly as possible. So we're going to drill this one deposit very hard, knowing that we can prove out some continuity, aim to have a mine application submitted by the end of the year and be fully permitted by mid-2027. This is the path where you go from explorer to developer and unlock value for shareholders. And this is what we're going to be doing at Reefton over the next 12 months. I'll just leave on the screen as we say goodbye some of the catalysts coming. We're looking at some uplistings. We've got some Glamorgan permits granted in March, April, as I mentioned. We're looking to go through that fast track process, and so you're going to see us included on that fast track list by mid this year. And we'll have a PEA and PFS that will follow in due course. Happy to take any questions over at booth 329. Thanks very much, everyone.